My friends, it is the Shark Tank After Show for Season 7, Episode 24. We're talking Drip Drop, Jared and Raja Productions, Kid Runner, and Inchbug. Next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah! Let's get it going. Hey, I'm Cameron Lewis, at Neil Camp, Twitter and Instagram. This young lady right here.
And hi, I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. Also, I'm trying really hard to figure out how to get into the chat, which I will probably promptly forget about, but I might be in there, so yay.
But if you don't hear a response, please feel free to fax us.
Yes.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. Hi, Chris Howard. You can reach me at Chris Howard Live. You can also reach me at legendarylivingdaily.com and legendarylivingtv.com for something.
James Lott Jr.
For something.
For something.
Who just snorted again?
Okay. Hi, I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me on all social media platforms at what? James Lott Jr. Not Senior, Junior.
Don't screw it up again.
Don't talk to my father.
Greg, you went to the wrong Twitter.
You went to the wrong James Lott.
James Lott Jr. So,
you.
I've done that.
24 episodes this season already.
25.
Wait, what? This is episode 25?
Wow.
What the hell? Who's producing this thing? We gotta replace the lead host on this thing.
You think we're in Legends of Tomorrow and we're going back in time. We're going to hit the right day.
I don't know. There's been a lot of episodes.
No. Here's the thing. This is really actually a good tie-in. We were looking that we have more episodes coming up this week, next week, and like 2 more episodes after. It's like gonna be 29 episodes this season. That's a lot.
They don't do that anymore.
No, they usually don't do that.
No.
Usually it's 22 or so, if that. So it's like this is a lot.
It's a lot of investing.
Yeah.
There's so much. Think about all the money. 7 seasons. That's a lot of money being exchanged.
I know.
It's a lot of cash.
That's too much cash.
Well, if only 1/3 of them actually go through, then it's a lot less cash than we think.
Oh, that's true.
There we go.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
they just
wow.
saved money. That's why they
Now,
need more episodes.
that's not positive thinking.
It's very positive. They're saving
Not
money.
legendary living.
That's right.
All right. Come on, girl.
Zoe said what?
Yeah.
So why don't we get things kicking off here with Drip Drop? $50,000 for 20% is what they were seeking coming into the tank. Now, I love it. I love these 2 kids. They are high school freshmen, and they came in pitching this business, which is essentially an addition to the ice cream cone, a little catcher for the drippity drops.
Yeah.
Hence the name Drippy Drop. James Lott Jr., what'd you think of this one?
So smart. I loved it. I thought it's just fun to see somebody find a niche of something and then like try to fill it. That's the whole thing about entrepreneurship is you find something that needs something and you make it into a product. And I thought it was very inventive for a simple thing.
Yeah.
And for 14-year-olds to do this, I love them. This was great. So
I like
that's my thing. I
like it.
That's
Chris Howard,
it. That's
what
it,
are you
kids.
thinking?
I'm done. I might see you guys later.
That's your 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I loved them. That's my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I thought I loved them as well. I thought it was really neat to see them at that age, and that's what I had to keep reminding myself is these are freshmen. You know, they're
14,
young kids, 14.
yeah.
They had the little gold bow ties. I love that. And they were, they showed a lot of ingenuity to come up with this thing, a lot of creativity. So they were fostering the skills that a good, that a good entrepreneur should foster from a very early age. I think the Sharks recognized that, so they wanted to give the best advice that they could. And what I really appreciated in this segment here was the Sharks, their desire to bring out the best in the kids, give them the greatest opportunity to learn from the experience and build on, which I saw that come out, but also not to be too easy on them because they need to know the realities of the business. So they kind of laid it in, but they did it in an educational way. So I thought it was good for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So?
I had mixed thoughts. On the one hand, I think it was a great product. So I'm definitely on board in that regard. I can see it has a use. I know so many people who get the drippy ice cream. I, on the other hand, don't because I'm a very clean ice cream eater. However,
See,
I definitely see the use. So for
Hashtag
that,
clean ice cream eater.
The circular technique.
yes,
what it
thank
is.
you. Okay, so
Is
for
that what you were doing those tongue exercises for?
Right. That's right.
This isn't Shark Tank After Dark,
sorry.
Chris. Okay, so from that perspective, I definitely get it. I think it's a great idea. From an actual perspective of how can they make it, I'm a little skeptical because I think that for it to work, it has to really fit securely around the cone. Otherwise, when the drips go down the cone, they'll just, like if there are any gaps in between the drip drop and the cone, they'll just go straight
That
down.
can be fixed. Like you said, it can be fixed.
So-
So they're making it at home.
So I don't know. So I'm saying if they can fix that, then great. If not, that's just something I see as a potential
Yeah, makes sense.
issue.
This is one of my favorite things about, I think, business in general, is the fact that you have conversations about ice cream cones. In this way.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Lemonade
you're going,
stands.
you're going, this is a very valid point. You're like, well, if we don't make the ice cream cone, scientifically speaking, there's about an inch gap where the cream can get between the cone and the catcher. It's like, what are you talking about?
But it's an issue. It's a real issue.
I know,
Well, no, it's
but
a thing.
that's right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Like you can, it's the mixture between like a professional thing and kind of
You know who we
talking
need?
about ice cream. It's
We
kind
need
of
the
fun.
astrophysicist. Who's that? What the guy from Cosmos?
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh,
Neil
That's
deGrasse
right.
Tyson would tell us how to make it right.
That's right.
I was like, who was on the show?
But I agree.
I'm
So,
trying to think.
I wanna-
Sean Patel from SAT 2400. I was like, trying to think, like, who are we talking about
Get
here?
a shot on the show. Get him on the show.
he could probably do it. Yeah.
I bet you he could.
Yeah, you can do
Well,
it.
he's in medicine. He's not in astrophysics.
Not-
so.
It's not a dog
Well, I
race.
mean, it's all the same.
It's not a dog race.
Ice cream cones, kidneys, whatever.
Yes.
But I do agree with you, and I wonder how many different kinds of cones there are out there, because I have no idea.
There's only a couple
There's
kinds.
What do you mean? How many cones are there?
Three.
Oh, come on, three, maybe
There's a
three.
sugar cone, a waffle cone,
Yeah,
and a
right.
cake cone.
Yeah,
There's
that's
three
it.
How many
cones.
variations?
cone.
Someone was
That name.
offended by that question. What the hell's wrong with you, Cameron?
I know my ice cream currently.
What do you mean? How many cones are there?
How
dare you?
Yeah, there's only
You've
like
got
three.
family in the ice cream cone business.
I don't.
How dare you?
Okay, sometimes I do notice I get really passionate about these things. I don't know why
You
or
do.
where it comes from. You're right. Why am I so passionate about
I
that?
don't know. I like it though.
But it's neat that you're a neat ice cream cone eater. That's
Yes.
special.
But no, you're right. There's only like three kinds. There's only like three kinds of ice cream cones. So,
Yes.
and like you said, like what she was saying, they said the same thing. We can make it better. They're just making it at home in a toaster oven.
Right,
Or
so I
whatever.
get that.
So yes, I think that's it. Yeah, if they do that and do different flavors and different
Yes,
kinds,
so good.
it'll be good.
Are all of those ice cream cone variations the same size? Are they all
Yeah, that's
uniform
what I'm saying.
size?
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
wait. What
that's
do you mean?
about-
Cake cones are
Is
a different
every
size
cake
than
cone?
a
No,
than
but
a
is
sugar
it's
cone.
every cake cone
Yes.
the
Oh, yeah.
exact
yeah,
same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell? Who invented that?
I know, not us. Obviously, I won't be sitting with you people. I'd be rich
God.
somewhere in a house. Yeah, somebody made me
Yikes.
got into it. Yeah,
Talking about a business.
I know.
But to keep it real, do we think that people are actually going to?
I'm keeping it real.
What part isn't real?
Do we think that people are actually going to use this thing and,
Yes,
and make
of
a
course,
purchase of an
yes.
ice cream cone like that?
I do.
That was kind of the suspension of disbelief I had to.
Oh wow.
Wait, you don't think? But people add like 50 cents all the time for like
Yeah.
extra sprinkles or
not saying that
a
it couldn't
cake cone
happen.
or like a waffle cone. They add $1. So why
Right.
not add a quarter?
So
for,
throw on
for
the
that?
dippity,
a drip drop.
the drip drop.
Yeah.
Throw it on, and I'm going to pay an
Zippity
extra
dippity.
50 cents for
Or
that.
whatever.
or
Yeah.
Or
quarter.
whatever
I see
it is, yeah.
See, I
And I'm
see
going to
that.
hold it. Okay, all right.
I think it's a fair question, and I also think it's not that big of a price change because you also have people paying the upcharge to move from like a sugar cone or whatever is it, cake cone?
To a waffle cone.
geez.
That's
To a
what you
waffle
pay
cone.
extra.
Have
You
you
don't
ever
pay
had
extra.
ice cream cones? Like, where are you from? I'm like, have you ever had an ice cream cone at Thrifties
I'm
or
from
something?
the Midwest, James. We got ice cream straight from the cow. Didn't need no cones.
And the cow's going, "What's your mouth doing down there?" But here's the thing. I like the feedback that came from the Sharks to put chocolate on it, and I think it came
Yes.
from Barbara, didn't it? And I think they should have chocolated the. Oh no, one of the ladies, I think. But they should chocolate the whole thing rather than sprinkling the stuff on the top. I think it meant to be
Chocolate, like,
Yeah, that the
yeah.
whole thing be covered in chocolate.
Zoe's buddy, Fantasy Stats Guru, says some companies make their own waffle cones, so the cone outer diameter would vary.
See, that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
no, excuse me, Fantasy
you.
Stats.
Tell him, Zoe,
I
tell
beg
him.
to differ. I think that possibly you're right on the waffle cone thing, but on the cake cone and sugar cone,
They're
those
saying,
are
This is going to be a
standard.
battle.
And even
versus cone.
even with the waffle cone, I'm not sure I can get on board that they're different. I think they use that standard like
I
iron
think so too.
thing.
I'm with
So,
Zoe on that one.
I don't
You know,
know,
there's
Fantasy
one
Stats.
person in like Ohio right now that's going, I invented the cone. They're all wrong.
That reminds me, you guys, do you remember the movie at all, Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion?
Yes, of course.
Yes, and they talk about inventing Post-it notes.
Oh, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it
Yes,
comes
oh,
from.
yes, I remember that.
You're going
Yes.
to be the cone inventor.
Yes.
They did end up getting.
They
They did end up getting a deal with Barbara. I like the quote that they had in here. It was, "We don't have driver's licenses, but we do have a patent."
When they presented that patent, it was like, ding! I was like, yes!
You got it.
They're very
Frames.
smart. Somebody's encouraging them in the right way. And I loved what
Absolutely.
she did. She gave them a task. Go do this, and then you get your deal, which we know those don't always go through. So we have to see.
And that contingency was, again, it was just kind of refining what that the process is and making the product just a little more consistent.
Tasty, too. Tasty.
Yeah, tasty.
And new design,
My biggest
yeah.
fear with this one, the deal they got $50K for 33.3%. It's a third of the business with Barbara. But my biggest personal fear for this one as a user is that I would get eager because there was another flavor and I'd eat it before the cone was done.
It's true. You
So,
have
like,
to have delayed gratification for
patience.
that. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know if I could do it.
Okay. You know what else I loved about these guys? On a slightly different, less snorting note.
I snorted.
I know. I thought they were so adorable too that they kept saying, you know, that like the patent is a chick magnet and things like that. They were so cute.
I like
you
them.
guys.
I like them.
It was awesome.
I love the geeks
I'm
myself.
glad
so.
the Sharks took the approach that they did, and I thought it was really smart, and it showed wisdom on their part to not be over gushous on the kids, because that's not going to serve them to think that everybody's falling
Right.
at their feet, but to still support and say, hey, this is what you're doing, and to treat them like adults.
Yeah.
So bravo to the Sharks. They treated them like adults and
They
talked to them
did.
like adults.
And you know what I liked about that too is they didn't come in with their parents, which I think is awesome. They came in together, alone, and they're like, "We can do this.
Yeah.
You know, we're
I give points for that. I
we
give
got
points
this
for that.
thing." I'm trying to think of what I was doing when I was that age.
I was
We're
doing that-
certainly not pitching business
I
ideas.
have a grandson who has a birthday this week, and he's a teenager, and he ain't doing this stuff.
This isn't Shark Tank After Dark.
I'm like, Papa Jamie wants to be rich. Come on, Zayden, do something.
James Lott Jr. drip drop. Are you in or out?
I'm in.
Chris Howard.
I'm in.
Zoe Hewitt.
Absolutely in. Love them.
I'm in as well. Was that the first four-way in?
I think so.
Four-way?
What?
There you go. Now you went After Dark.
You went after dark.
Somebody
Zoe.
loves this
I
lady.
don't know if we
Dark
could go in together though, because Zoe and I might have some, you know, bashing of the
cones.
opinions when it comes to the cones.
Cones.
Cone v cone.
Wait, I'm not
Should be
clear.
going. Look at this very uniform, standard waffle cone,
Right.
Cameron. Let's figure this thing out. I go, what is that?
You and
This-
Fantasy Stats Guru, you guys can do this.
We got to take you out to eat, get some ice cream with a cone.
There you go.
I just
Look at it.
trying to pit it on like a parking cone or something. Anyways, that's drip drop. Moving on
like it.
to the most interesting one I think of the night for me.
Oh.
Jarrett and Raja Productions. $750,000 for 40% is what they came into the tank seeking. And this is the new music magic spectacle for Las Vegas called Miracles. It's a combination of a magician and a pianist. Chris Howard, first thoughts on this one?
Wow.
This thing on.
Chris Howard, that's yeah,
I'm Chris Howard.
You're live, Chris Howard.
We're on. Somebody.
You're live. You're live.
So I like
something.
this. Well, actually, I liked it, but I liked it from, once again, from an educational standpoint. I thought there was much to be unpacked with this, and the idea to look to finance a stage show like that, I think, was really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I didn't buy it. I didn't get the evidence that they knew how that they were going to market it or anything. In fact, when they said, what do you think? How are you going to put the butts in the seats? Basically, is what it is. That's the bottom line. And they said, well, that's marketing. Like it was almost a dirty word. So I appreciated the educational aspect of it, because I've always wondered about the profitability of shows and different things like that, stage shows. I mean, you guys probably have too, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have invested in it, and I thought it was wise not to invest in it. They have to, if they had come in and they said, we're going to put it's $59 a head. There's 1,600 seat theater, and we're going to fill that to 80% capacity twice a day on this and this. And then you'd start to have the beginnings of a marketing plan that might make somebody believe, but and some track record of success. I spoke too long. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
We have
Zoe, James, any thoughts?
I think I actually disagree with you.
Oh! Okay, yeah, go ahead.
love a good
Cone v.
disagreement.
cone.
I know she does.
It's a fight.
I know
yeah.
she does. She likes
It's a
disagreement.
fight. Yeah.
No, part of the script, I think they did come in thinking they knew what they were going to do. I think they're just overconfident. Because Vegas is really, I go to Vegas a lot. I know it's really hard to get in. Usually the trick is you make it somewhere else, and you come to Vegas with your
Right.
gravitas, who you are,
Yeah.
and you set a show.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were coming like, we're gonna just market it. We're gonna get seats in this because we're good magicians.
Right.
And I feel like they're just like, we do know what we're gonna do. We're gonna come in here and we're gonna make it. So a little confident, overconfident, but it's not that simple.
Yeah, I think
They're gonna drop us in the middle
if
of
you
Vegas.
start in
Right.
Vegas, I want to. You better make an elephant explode and then come back to life or something. Like it better blow my friggin' mind. You better like make new kinds of ice cream cones appear or something. Because this was a. I mean, it was cool that she showed up at a piano.
It was a great
I think
trick.
the biggest mystery was how did they fill a piano with that much water? And does it still work?
So,
But I agree with you, James. I think that something they have to start outside of the town, and it's a big ask for $750,000 before any kind of proof of concept comes out.
right, that's the thing. They had no proof of concept. They had no
Right.
track record. And how do you see the future if you can't see the past?
And more to the point, Zoe,
past,
feel free to
hashtag
butt in here as well. But
Days of future past.
more to the point of the marketing thing that y'all were talking about. Whenever they're asked about how they were going to fill the seats, what the customer acquisition was looking like, they said, the back of taxis, back of buses, things like that, which was just like
It's normal stuff there. It's normal. They won't stand out.
Put a piano, make a piano appear in the streets. Or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
We had at one point
Viral market.
we were going to do a big seminar here in Los Angeles, and we
Yeah.
had Paula Abdul on the card and Les Brown, if you know Les,
Yes,
good,
Les
good
Brown.
friend of mine.
Great guy.
But we had all these named speakers on the card, and so we were backstage, and I remember the woman had said that she was going to market it with billboards, and that was the whole thing. And then we're going, and the people that had been in the seminar business said billboards are not the way to market seminars, but she was so convinced that her idea was right. And unfortunately, what ended up happening was Paula Abdul pulled out the day before, and we sat in the room with 1,000 seats, and we had 7 people in the front row that showed up, and we were all in the back going, "Whoa, what do we do?"
Yeah, that's exactly.
So-
that's the big fear.
Yeah, that's the fear that they had. So I don't buy it.
Somebody just made
Someone's
James's
doing
seat
magic.
disappear.
And you
Magic.
got to move all of a
Oh,
sudden.
that's why you had the pad.
Yeah, because it was short, and all of a sudden it moved on me all of a sudden.
Chris, is there a kind of
haunted.
is there a kind of marketing that you think would have worked for something like this?
Yeah. I think that they could have pulled it off. And if I was, it's just I would do it. See, it's hard in Vegas. That's what I think they should do. I've got another friend named Yakov Smirnov, if you know who he is.
Yeah.
He's a comedian, Russian comedian. He's got a theater in Branson, Missouri, and that theater they have it's like they've got groups of people that come in. It's an older clientele, and they come in on buses. And there's all these people in this town. They've got nothing to do. There's no competition for it. There's like the one theater in town, and Yakov rents that out at times where he's not there. So I'd recommend to them to go to Yakov, see if they can get a deal out there where they've got a captive audience.
Yeah,
Right.
I've been to Branson several times.
Oh, have you really?
completely agree
Just
with
to
you.
see, just to see Yakov's
Just
show.
to see Yakov's show, and they have pretty good ice cream cones there. But,
Jeez.
that's where they do that
But
kind
you
of
have
thing. Though.
Smirnoff.
They go there and kind of test the concept, so to
Right.
speak.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I mean, it's Branson, Missouri, so it's like wheat, cows,
Yeah, I went
Magic.
magic
I
show.
went, I went there once. I
Yeah.
went there once. I had to leave.
And I
mean, I also
You
left.
know why? You know why?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know why?
Yeah.
But
I feel like
why.
everyone's on an inside joke, but
Zoe.
you know why.
I'll tell you afterwards.
You know why. I'll tell you
Not the
why.
kind of show. Not the kind of show.
Yes.
I'll tell you. So I love magic. Like if anyone knows someone
Oh.
at the Magic Castle, like I've been
do.
down.
I do too.
What?
Let's all go.
I'm a lifelong member.
Are you
Right?
really? Wow.
So
So
hopefully
you know
guys.
yourself?
I do it myself. That's what I'm like. Me and that piano player there, when you first walk and you don't see it, that's me actually in the back.
Isn't that like being one of the Illuminati?
Yeah, exactly. Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
if he's a lifelong
So you're a big
member.
fan of
Okay,
magic.
so I'm a big fan of magic, and now I'm depending on one of you to take me to the Magic Castle. I will pay for myself. I'm not saying you have to
Right.
take
We
me.
have to be invited, of
but
course,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
So I need anyway. So I love magic. So I am such a sucker for it, and like I watched their presentation, obviously, because I watched the Shark Tank episode. So I watched it, and it's like, oh my god, that's amazing! And
It was
he
good,
lit
it
her
was
on
good.
fire, and now she's in the piano, and wow, all that said. And as much as I love magic.
Okay.
It's like a common
There
night
were
for
like
me.
11 other acts, they said,
Yeah.
in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that sets them apart other than the fact really that they have a live piano player. And so for me, there would have to be something else. And it's interesting because I don't think we've ever seen a stage production on Shark Tank
I don't
before.
remember. I don't remember at all. I'm trying to think
No.
back in seasons. I can't think
The
of
only
one.
thing we've had similar are like the event productions that they do like the haunted
Yeah.
Hayride.
Hayride, I read that. Yeah, I
I think
read that.
that is
they
the
came
only
on?
thing
Oh, I
that
don't
even
even
comes
remember
close.
that.
It was years ago, seasons
cool.
ago.
Yeah, I think that's the
So-
only thing that comes remotely close, though.
So I just think that for something like this, and so many Broadway shows even fail on such a regular basis, that it would have to be something so phenomenal
Yeah.
for them to invest.
Right.
And
That
I
kind of
think they need to
backing
start
is-
somewhere else,
Yeah.
even if it's on a cruise ship. Like I went on a cruise a couple of
That's
years
true.
ago, and I saw a magic act that I think had won like America's Got Talent or one of
okay.
those big shows, and it was great. I mean, they were amazing because they're magic, and I loved it. So I think that's what they should do. I mean, I think they're great. I love the live music, and he went to Juilliard, which is
Oh,
so
yeah,
impressive.
Yeah.
But the investment is risky for sure.
Very risky.
Very
I loved his jacket. I want
The
that
jacket
lightning
was awesome.
jacket.
There you
It's
go.
all lightning.
It was
I want
great.
it. I want it.
I have a question for y'all.
Yes.
How did they make the woman appear in the piano?
I have no idea.
I was just gonna make that.
I thought she appeared next to me.
That's real joy. She's not.
That
you
was
can't,
pretty-
You can't act this.
You're not
That's-
making it.
That was pretty crazy.
Almost like the ice cream cones. I don't know what comes over me.
I
How did she show up in the piano?
I have no
I
idea.
don't know. I love
The only
it.
thing is,
and
though,
I don't want to know. That's
I
don't
thought
wanna
that
know
was going to
either.
be more. I thought they were going to show us an example. Now, the stage show is probably much different, but I thought they were going to show us a working example of him playing the piano.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was playing the
While
piano,
this-
wasn't
He
he?
did? 'Cause
He
I didn't
did,
hear it.
and then he got up.
Yeah, he kind of did. Yeah.
He did very briefly.
I,
should have played
my
like a
problem is
big
I
note when
hate
she
magic.
appeared.
I
You
hate
do?
it.
What is
I hate
wrong with
I
you?
actually
Why do you hate
magic.
it?
It just bores the heck out of me. Like I used to go to the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach,
Yeah.
and I hate it when they had magicians. It sucked.
Oh my
Because you had
God,
to
I
sit
love
there
magic.
through the magic, and you see them
get
put
to the
like, you
comedy.
see the little thing how they do it with the ring and stuff.
You
so
don't
I
see
hate
and
magic.
don't tell me.
Okay.
Tell me, Chris, when did you start hating America?
I know, exactly. It's like, wow.
No, I mean, I'm kind of with you. On the small scale, I don't know if it's for me.
Yeah.
I'm
On the large
sorry.
scale.
Okay.
Don't talk to me.
Quickly, this is just a quick little story. One of my first clients ever in my organizing business
Yeah.
is Jerry Katzman. He's a well-known comedian and magician at Magic Castle. And when I first met him, he goes, sit down. And before we discussed what was going on, he made his wallet go on fire right in front of me. And I was just like, I'm sold. I'm like, whatever you do, I was like, I'll do it.
And then you made all his
What were you there
stuff
for?
disappear.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff disappeared.
That's right.
For organizing.
Yeah, for organizing.
Yeah.
But he sat down. He's sitting right where you are, and he pulls his wallet, and he's all, and all just on fire.
Flames.
I was enthralled. I was like, I'm sold.
See, I haven't
Like,
experienced
how
that.
did they do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've only experienced like the guy accidentally drops the fake dove out of his sleeve.
yeah.
Or you see him palm the card or something.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, so I never see that. I don't.
No.
But whenever they show things on TV, I don't watch them.
No, me
Just
either. I don't
behind-
want to know.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
When they do what on TV?
They show like the
Behind
behind
the
the scenes
scenes.
of magic.
Like
The
Siegfried
secret
and
magician.
Roy.
I believe in Santa Claus still, so there you go.
Thank you, me too,
I
JLJ.
do. I do.
Yeah.
Santa Claus, Santa brings you presents.
Me
Yeah,
too, JLJ.
Santa's real, kids. So they did not end up getting a deal.
But maybe they'll come do magic for us.
But here's funny. Grace says, excuse me, a point. Create viral videos on YouTube.
that's what I was
I'll
saying.
start that.
Marketing.
Are we
Start
talking
that. I
about?
don't. Start that.
No, but I
For,
don't know. Do people believe magic when you see it in a video? That's the problem because it's too easy to stop a camera and then, you know.
Well, you can see
Move
it.
her to the piano.
Typically, you can tell if there's been a cut that's been made in the video. Well, I guess.
Did you watch Birdman?
Maybe not your average.
Did you watch
person.
The
I did
Revenant?
watch yeah.
You can't always tell.
But I think that you don't even necessarily have to, show the trick or show them doing a trick.
'Cause it's like-
It's like a squatty potty.
Or that one guy who
Unicorns
does
don't poop
What is
on
that?
the toilet.
What is that one guy who does those weird kind of? He jumps out of a car, but it's not a car. He does these quick shot video. I forgot his name.
You're talking about Chris
Oh,
Angel?
Yes,
on
not
Vine?
Angel, not Chris Angel.
The guy on Vine.
Yeah, on Vine, who does these quick. I forgot his name, but
Zach King
and
or
people
something.
love him. He's huge. He does.
Yeah.
He's like seemingly magic. He goes from one scene to another, seemingly like. I mean, I don't
Get
know.
the eyes, then show them what you're made
Maybe
of.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Just a thought. Just a thought. So let's go around the table. James Lott Jr. In or out?
Unfortunately, for where they want to go, I'm out.
Chris Howard.
Out.
Zoe Hewitt.
Oh, I'm out. But if they want to come give us a performance, I'd be so into
Oh, I
it.
know.
I'm out. I'll definitely go see the show, but
Yeah, same here. Or come here.
Oh my god, that'd be so awesome. We wouldn't even discuss the
My
next
God.
episode. They could do magic for like an hour for us.
I really wish that
I'll sit in the
had-
corner and throw things. And,
I really wish I booked them for the show. So as soon as you all said that, they just walked.
I know.
Where is my birthday present?
She would lose
and
it.
then I'll say,
Before we move
I
on
was
to
kidding.
before we move on to Kid Runner, Zoe, can you tell the people about our podcast and where they can find it?
I would love to tell people
Thank
about
you.
our podcast and where they can
Thank
find
you.
it. You can find us on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can give us that little cute thumbs up button and click subscribe. Oh, and leave us a comment because we'll definitely respond. And if you tag us, we'll really respond.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it for where you can find us.
And I would
right?
say you can watch her as a lead host on The Path, which is here at AfterBuzz.
Oh, that's right.
I saw you there today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You did a
She
great
was
job.
all right.
Actually, Susanna.
She's all right. I said you did a great job. He said you were all right.
I am on the path. Susanna is normally in, and she was out,
You did
and I
great,
filled in. Well, thank you.
Good job.
That's Aaron Paul.
So you took her place on the path.
On the path.
No.
On the path. On the path.
And hopefully you'll be seeing me on Sister Wives soon, not on the actual show, but on the after show.
Make that clear.
I was like, what?
I'm making that very
I was like,
clear
what?
as it's coming out of my mouth.
I was like, Zoe
That would be
said
an interesting
what?
path.
That would be an interesting path,
Wow.
not that path.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll see me on Hoarders, the after show.
Yes. I was like, wow.
Let's
Okay.
go ahead and move on to Kid Runners. $500K for 20% is what they were seeking coming into the tank. It's the world's first hands and arms free kid jogger. Zoe, first thoughts on this one?
I don't know if I'm just too, like, Debbie Downer here, but this thing, like, I wanted to like it, but I just can't. I feel like there's something about, like, it's too bouncy, that can't be comfortable, the turns can't be smooth, and then in your car, you still would need a stroller, because, like, what are you going to go through the grocery store with your kid attached to your back? Probably not. So, like, I live near the Rose Bowl. Like, I always walk my dog around there. So, you know, you would have to put that thing in your car to go to the
Right,
Rose
all right.
Bowl. But
It would
then
be
if you wanted
great
to
for
run an
supermarket
errand,
sweep,
I mean,
though. You have to admit.
so
Running around grabbing that cheese wheel.
I love that show.
Oh, my God.
I always wanted to be on that show.
Me too.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too.
Maybe we can do that.
Oh, sure.
So
Make it
I
happen.
really want to love this Kid Runner, but I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you. I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know how, like, what these guys' approach is necessarily. I get it, but I don't know. I kind of I feel like I trip over it very easily.
Well, it's funny.
You're gonna trip behind you?
Yeah, but I still feel like I trip.
I've seen him do it.
Well, I mean, I thought the concept was something that was admirable. That it was, you know, it was
Yeah.
like I said, first high performance, multi terrain, hands free kind of jog. So I get that part's kind of cool, I guess. I just, I'm like the child's back there bouncing around. And that makes me a little nervous. I don't know. I mean, I hate to be running all of a sudden. Hey, where's my baby? Where's my baby?
Well, I
Okay,
can't.
don't you think you'd hear if your child
I
fell
hope
out?
so. I hope so.
When you
I
have
know.
your headphones on, you're
iPod,
listening
Yeah,
to
some
your
music, some
Bose
music.
or
I'm
Dr.
listening. I go,
I was just saying, I've lost golf bags on the course before,
Right.
and I didn't hear that.
Right.
So
Some folks are stealthy. I don't know.
like,
I think
legitimate.
it's a sex thing. I think it's men and women, and you
Yeah.
might be more aware. I wouldn't notice either, and that's the problem. Like but when I walk, no, actually, I think it's my maternal instincts went off when I saw that. I was like, you know, and I'm not feminine in any way, but I'm very masculine.
Yeah.
But
People who say that,
yeah.
problem.
That's not what you said last night.
Right.
But anyway, but my maternal
my
instinct, like I
God.
saw it and I thought, but I felt fear when I first saw it. I was like, there's no way. The mother's not going to run with her child behind her,
Yeah.
not able to see the child.
I don't think they will either. In front, yeah,
Yeah.
not in the back.
It's not gonna
I
happen.
can see doing it like if it worked. I don't understand
you?
why you guys think that like you're not gonna hear the baby
Okay,
fall
maybe it's my
out.
fraternal instinct.
I think it might- yeah.
I
don't
maybe
know.
I'm overestimating the fact that I think I'd hear
I-
a baby fall out of there, but I mean they'd cry
probably
or
would.
like
You
that was
probably
an
would.
older kid in there. They'd go like,
Yeah, it is.
"Mom,
Yeah.
Dad, you
Yeah.
dropped me."
hey, Mom, pull over.
And I have to say, that little kid that got out afterwards, they're right. She did not look happy after
She could
that
have been
short
shy.
run.
She could have
looked-
been shy on TV.
I feel
I
bad
can't.
for
I
them.
don't think we can chalk it up to just she didn't.
Should
live
we just
the
not mention it
ride.
then? I mean, because
No,
she
we
didn't
can
look happy
mention
when
it.
she
I'm
got out.
She didn't. I'm just saying.
I will say, I do appreciate. What's this guy's name? Was Will, right?
Will Warren.
Will.
I do appreciate how much he cares about this thing because he's really now I know that was also they marked that as one of the flaws of the pitch was that he was spending too much time in the perfection of this. But when it comes to kids and safety and stuff, you can't really screw around. So I appreciate the fact that he was taking the time to make sure it was right in that regard. But I don't know. I don't know about it.
The design was amazing.
It was
looked
pretty
neat.
cool, yeah.
That's why you wanted to like it, but
Yeah.
I just don't see any parent putting their kid behind them like that.
I'm sorry, I'm paranoid. I'm a parent.
Somebody's gonna come grab
I don't
your
like.
kid or
I don't want
something,
kids.
yeah?
I don't want kids behind me. I want
Yeah.
kids in always my
I want to see
eyesight.
them.
Wait, but what about like people on the bikes with like the thing that looks exactly like this, but it attaches to a bike? How is that different?
I don't like it.
Oh.
So I'm telling you, I don't like it.
You don't want your kid behind you
No,
ever.
I don't. I'm starting nowadays. I want my kids in front. I like to see my kids in front of me. My
What
grandkids
about-
in
But
front
you
of me.
won't see them. They're in the stroller. How
But
would
no,
you see them?
I will see them if someone
they
grabs.
fall out.
As you run by them, bye, honey. Gotta get
Unless
my
they were
time
never
up.
in there to begin with.
Get my waffle cone.
Would it be better if this would take up more space and not make sense at all? And nobody,
But would it be better?
nobody would ever take it.
Why don't you put it on the table
But
then?
what if it was like a motorcycle sidecar and you could look over and
So I don't
stuff?
mind side either. I don't mind side. Back just makes me nervous.
Side
Yeah.
might be okay, but back, yeah, no.
Yeah, just don't like
I
it.
thought it was kind of like a thing where, I mean, what is to prevent this thing from being in the front?
I don't know.
Well, because it doesn't have a hard thingamajig, it looked soft.
It'd be hard to steer it.
So I think if it's in front, it would.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right.
So it'd have to be, like, if you're
hard-
talking about this one in particular, it would need a
Yeah.
hard,
Right. Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't.
Like
it
just
wouldn't.
pipe. I don't know. I
When
can't
it-
think of a word, like
Yeah.
a pipe or a
yeah.
But
this.
it was
Connector.
Thank you.
No, but it was form fitted. That was one thing that was very impressive about it was the design and how it seemed
Oh,
to be
yeah, yeah.
sturdy. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I thought
definitely.
Robert did, so,
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
really cool.
I wanted to
he
like
said.
it, too. I think everybody wanted
I think
to
it's
like
really cool.
I wanted to like it too, and I just.
I mean, they said they ran marathons and won with this thing on.
That's
so-
amazing.
I do. You know, I wonder how heavy it is though, because they didn't really
Oh, true.
equate like how much it would compare to like pulling a wagon
Okay,
full of
I've run
right.
bricks
marathons.
or
I've
something.
run
Plus a kid.
marathons,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't want my child running a marathon with me. I'm sorry.
Why?
I just think marathons are really hard on you. First of all, period. It's something you have to think about while you're doing a marathon. I would want to think about my child's safety as I'm doing a marathon.
Right.
Wouldn't
lot
that
of
make you an
people-
even better runner, though?
Not necessarily. Maybe it distract you.
Maybe.
You're in a marathon. Your child's like, what your child says, "Mommy" or "Papa Jamie, I need to go to the bathroom," and then you're like, "But I'm trying to make the 13th mile or whatever." I mean, like it's distracting. I mean,
I see, yeah,
I think
good
in a
point.
marathon situation to me is kind of weird. That's just me.
Yes.
I've done marathons.
It doesn't even sound like proper parenting because you might not be able to be responsive like.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean,
That's a good point.
marathons run anywhere between 3 and 6 hours.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Well, what
long
about a
time.
half marathon?
That's 3 hours. Three to 4 hours.
What about a jog to the car? Is that better?
Unless you're a gazelle, you can run in 20 seconds. But other than that, you do it between. I mean, I've done
kind of
both.
agree
I've
with
done
you,
both.
though.
I just I felt weird for a child. Like that's kind of a weird example.
I'm
for
not
me.
a parent, but that's a long time.
It's a long time for a kid to be out there.
I can barely hold it for 3 hours. Like, if I'm going to see a movie, I go to the bathroom before and after.
I do too. Yeah. I do too.
And it's like 2 hours.
Just wear a diaper.
What if there's some other
should probably go
application?
before.
I really want there to be an application for this
okay.
thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a
There is an
a
application, it's
grocery
called
cart or
running.
something.
It's called running.
No, but like
It is,
I said,
it's
for
running.
children,
It is.
you put some kind of I don't know, like you go
Device?
camping supplies or something and jog 20 miles north and pitch the
And
tent. I don't know.
It could be like a cross country event or something.
Yeah, I don't
it's a
know,
race
something.
across the country. Yes.
That's interesting.
Right?
Like if you're outdoorsy and you want to, instead of putting it on your back, maybe it's a little smoother by
Yeah.
going on wheels behind you. Maybe.
You can pack your ice cream cones.
There you go, ice cream cones.
And a cooler if you're going that far.
right.
You
The
need a
head,
cooler.
that's right, the cooler. But I thought it was admirable what he did. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I.
Yeah.
And it was expensive, $750. I mean, that's an expensive thing, and for only one use too.
I know.
I don't
Yeah.
think people would have a problem paying it if it was if it wasn't such a pain in the ass that it was behind you because it's such a great contraption.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
neat. I think it's
Yeah.
what every parent would want, but the fact that it's back there kills it. What I was impressed by that he had so little money in creating the prototype. It didn't cost him that
Yeah.
much to create it.
73,000.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. So he got it up and running for not much. So kudos to you. Yeah. It's a great design. I love it. Boy, I just wish it wasn't behind the
Yeah.
parent. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And did you guys catch too at the end when Robert made that comment? Something happened that never happened here before. He said the four of us agreed with Barbara.
Yeah.
And I've talked before, I know, about how I feel like they're down
do you
on
feel?
Barbara.
Yeah.
And I thought that this was just like another one of those comments because there have been instances before where they've all wanted to go in on a deal like that drone that was, I think, earlier this season. And so I don't know, that just turned me off. And I really like Robert. Normally I feel like he's such a friendly guy, but oh, Robert, I was
I feel
disappointed.
I see.
Just
It goes back to my thing. They're pulling some of this stuff. I think they're having them encouraging them
Yeah.
to like say comments like because it's totally unnecessary for them to say that. It was totally necessary
Yeah.
for them to say that. I agree with you on that one.
That was probably even after. They were probably talking about lunch or something.
Yes, they edited
Hey,
it that
who
way.
wants pizza? That sounds good. It's the first time we've agreed with Barbara at lunch. They put it in.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. I know it's scripted.
No,
but
but I think-
I'm just saying,
No,
I
I agree with you. I
think
totally agree with
the
you.
sentiment is there that I feel like
I
they
totally
pick on
agree
her.
with you.
So.
It's valid. It's 100%.
I think it's totally
valid.
unnecessary. I agree
Yeah,
with
I do too.
you. We agree with you, Zoe.
There you go.
Yes.
Throwing shade, like,
We agree with you.
they did not end up getting a deal.
No deal.
James Lott Jr., are you in or out on the Kid Runner?
I don't run with kids. I'm out.
Okay. Chris Howard.
That's not what we heard. I'm out.
I'm out.
I don't run at all. I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm
Cam.
also out. I don't have a pun
I know,
or a
I'm
joke. But, you know, the name, I don't know. It kind of sounds like you're running over a kid.
Yeah, kid runner.
I just thought about that. Let's move on to Inchbug. 400,000 for 10% is what they were seeking, and they have the Madrinky and
Drinky poo.
the Orbit label. So first thoughts on this?
As I said when we were watching it, as a parent and grandparent, and Barbara said it, they're taking a simple process and adding more steps to it. I'm sorry, when the kids are running around and they're thirsty, I'm like, just go in there and get a juice box and you know how to put it in there. I don't want this extra stuff to do.
Yeah, so to remind everybody at home, it was like you said, James, the thing, it was like a box
it off,
that
you
you
squeeze
add
it,
your
take
juice
it
box
off.
so that you can't
Right.
squeeze the juice box.
Yeah, I just think that's not important.
Too many steps?
Yeah, I like the Orbit labels though, but the drinky thing I wasn't a fan of.
Yeah. Zoe, how about you?
I agree that juice boxes are sort of a pain. Like, even for me, you know, it's like you have to be careful, remember to hold them on the short side instead of the long side so you don't splash anything. I mean, I haven't had a juice box in a long time, but that's how I remember
Very
them.
informative. You
I was like, wow, okay.
Clearly, this has stuck with me since I was like 12. But
You
these-
wake up in the middle of the night, go! Long side!
I don't know why this is seared into my brain, but it is. So I get that it's nice to not have that happen, but as an adult, why would I want to wash more stuff? Like
I agree
that, I
with
don't
you guys.
understand. And like if they're going somewhere, so they're taking it like on a picnic, you have to bring something extra.
Yeah.
It's just too much work.
Chris, do you have problems with juice boxes?
Yeah, I agree with what y'all have said. The contraption that she put together there it was really, she'd only sold $50,000 worth, right? That wasn't what was making the business work. Obviously, it was $2 million in sales that were coming from the little bands, which I liked because they kind of color coordinate things and they can put things so you can recognize it by color and also by name. I liked it. It was like a typing system for an organized person.
Well, for as an organized person, I loved it. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I love labels. I
Interesting.
love labels.
To Mark's point, which he later said, that being the core competence, or what do you call it?
Core,
Customization being the core competency to
Yeah.
the business. You would think that with the Drinky Stinky or whatever it's called,
Drinky poo.
the Drinky Poo, as Kevin
they
said,
kept calling it.
you think that there would be some element of personalization or customization with that.
You'd think so, but also I think the big problem with that, I mean, if they wanted to seal up the hole on the top, which doesn't seem like it would be that difficult. If you wanted to have a ball that wouldn't spill, then have a ball that wouldn't spill is my
Right,
thought. You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
fix that if you're going to do it. But I still don't think that there's really a market for it, to your point. So and I didn't even think about that. All the steps you got to go through and all that.
It's bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
just,
if you're talking about a ball so it doesn't spill, I mean, you can't put that in the juice box. So really what you're saying is get a cup. I mean, I mean, why not pour your juice box then into a cup that has a lid?
yes.
Problem
It's made
solved.
of plastic. But
But so
yeah.
a cup or a sippy cup, one of those things that they don't spill, right?
And she didn't have any means of distribution. Yeah. So she had the distribution for the other ones, but that was primarily through the website, right?
Right, but she's
So-
in the talks with the big box store, she said, but she didn't
say what it was.
She didn't say what it was, which makes sense if
Yeah,
it's not there.
right.
But it was interesting. I thought that she wanted that retail space so passionately.
Yeah, she did. She really did. And I think it was, I kind of agree with what they were saying at the end, which was she's done the other business for 10 years. Impressive sales over the 10-year period of time, but it's getting a little boring for
Yeah.
her. I totally get.
Which is fine.
I get both
Right.
ends of that.
Did you
stick,
see
by
that
the
product
way.
in Bed Bath & Beyond? Like if she just did the bands, do you think that they could?
Oh yeah.
See, I would be interested to see if there's a application for the bands outside of
Internet.
outside of
Out
the
of a
baby
bottle.
world. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, it
know
reminds
what I
me
mean?
of like what you put on wine glasses so that you recognize your wine
Yeah.
glass. That's what it reminds me of.
But yeah, I mean, I get it. I would, if I was a business owner, I would love to see my product on our store shelf. So I understand that. I feel like it would be something that's kind of hard you'd have to teach the customer exactly what it is somehow,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you wouldn't see it and think, boy,
No.
I want to put my juice in there.
Because
No.
it kind of
Yeah,
looks
right.
like a normal sippy cup.
Right.
Kind of, yeah.
So if it's in with the other sippy cups, and so, I don't know. I just think it might get kind of lost in the fray.
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. So everybody went out, and then Kevin. I think it was interesting. This was an interesting thing for me because Kevin normally gets kind of he makes poking fun at people and all that whenever he's like totally against the concept. But this one he gave a shot, $400K, a royalty of $1 per item sold, which is pretty steep.
Yeah.
Three times, yeah.
Until he recoups 3 times the amount of money, so that'd be $1.2 million. Then a 5% equity stake in the company. After that, he's saying, "I'll help you advertise, introduce you to the social media team," and I don't think I've ever seen Kevin so passionately just tell somebody you have no idea what you're doing in retail. And it wasn't like, oh, you have no idea, you fool. He was just literally,
Right.
I felt him trying to connect and go, don't do this because
Yeah,
you're
right.
going to screw yourself or something.
agree.
But she said no deal,
Yeah.
which I kind of agree with her on this.
Yeah.
That was a steep deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the retail thing is the right move either. So
It's one of those things where I completely think if it's working online, like I said, don't broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Get it. But I also do understand if you're bored doing one thing, you want to try something new, maybe try it. But I just think I think it's just in retail. I mean, stay online. We stay online.
yeah, I think stay online.
online.
Find a couple other ways that you could expand the band business, expand the label business. 'Cause I feel like there's a
would
lot
drop
more
this whole
potential
sippy
there.
cup thing. I think
Yeah.
she's got to let that go if she's going to make something of it.
I do think there's a lot
bands were
more
neat.
potential with the band.
Yeah.
She could easily, my own thing, if you're listening to me, I'm James Lott Jr. I'm part of the National Association of Professional Organizers. We have a
Yeah.
conference every year. You should totally go there. We
That's a
have
good
exhibit
idea.
halls there. And I think a lot of housewives and homemakers are organizers, and that's who their market is also too, because she could totally sell it. So instead of going to retail, go to other places like that, have inventory, and tour the country, and go to different shows and trade shows.
You know, somehow I am definitely the odd man out tonight with this because I don't get those bands. And I am like an organizing fanatic. Like I color code things. I love organization. But these bands to me are like, what? And I don't think they said how much the bands cost in the store.
4-pack, $12.99.
No, that was the Drakey Poos, weren't they?
No,
that was the bands.
Okay.
Bands? Okay.
So yeah, no way would I spend
like
that.
$2 to make, and so the margins were nice. They
Yeah.
weren't.
Margins were
I
good.
just don't
like, no.
understand that. No.
Well, I think it's normally when you customize your own label, it's not a reusable label. So I think maybe the appeal is it's reusable. It's never going to break because it's this rubber material. It's form fitting. You can put it around.
If you have
several
multiple
different
kids,
kinds of
Yeah, I
things.
could see people getting sets of these.
Say, this is your cup, this is your cup,
Got your
this is
name
your,
on
I
it.
mean-
Here's that one. You
If you had,
send it
like,
to school,
triplets.
But on
Or
another level,
I'm a big family, but you know what I mean, like multiple kids. My daughter has 3 kids, and
Yeah.
we say this is your. They always say, "Where's my cup? Where's my cup? Where's your cup?"
And then they have friends over.
and friends,
Yeah.
they
you know,
easily
it's
say,
like-
"This is your cup. Is your label."
now that
Like
being
the wine,
said,
the wine
Yeah, I don't
parties
know why that's just
Let me
like.
grab you.
that being said, I am curious as to how, because it seems to me like this is a lot of work for somebody to get like 4 labels. They go online, they customize, they go and order it. So it's surprising that she has this amount of sales,
Yeah.
given that there's a process for it, right?
Right.
Really? Do you think it's that hard to go online and order
It's not
something?
hard, but it's not hard to put the thing on the sippy cup either. It's just another step. You know what I mean? It's just more steps than buying it on a shelf. So there's
Oh, I'd
labor
much
involved.
rather
He's-
order
he's-
at home.
Yeah,
Are
me
you
too.
kidding me? I
Yeah,
don't
me
want to
too.
go. Like, I sit and order on Amazon
No, but
and like,
he's talking
oh, more
about from her
cat food.
perspective.
Boom, 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 boom. Bam! It'll be here in 2 days.
Talking about
Love
from her
it.
perspective, though, from the perspective of the woman that's making them, right?
No, he's talking about a consumer.
Oh, a customer.
Who
Okay, I
wants
thought
to,
you
he's
meant-
saying who wants to go
I'm
online.
not saying it's hard, but it's
Right.
not hard to take the thing and put it on the juice box either.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's a 2-step process.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting for something as simple as labeling that you go online and fill out the form. and
see,
stuff.
I thought
and
you were
I'm
talking
actually
about the-
curious.
I thought you were talking about the workload to create it
Oh,
because
no.
she had to create the label.
I'm actually curious. I wonder if she's done research on, because if you looked at the labels, there was nothing about them that said necessarily baby, right? They were they kind of look like those bracelets. that
That's
Logan
maybe
used to
that's
wear.
what it reminded me. Maybe that's why I'm
And-
so turned off that
Okay,
it just looks
makes
like
sense.
a Fitbit bracelet or something.
But I'm curious is
sense.
if she's done research as to what percentage of her customers are actual parents, and what percentage of our customers are buying it for whatever other reason.
See, I thought you had a good point earlier when you said, "Are there other applications beyond children?" And
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that. But
Yeah,
I
that's
think
good.
there are
You could put
plenty
them
of
on your
applications,
keys.
yeah.
Yeah, easily. That's
Hell,
fun.
put on your ice cream cone.
Oh,
You know it's yours.
Jeez.
It's not a bad idea.
I feel like
James,
you're ice cream obsessed now.
I'm gonna go get me a cone after this. Drip it
got
all over
unicorns
myself
in
in
the
the
mind.
car because I don't have the drip drop.
Drip drop.
James Lott Jr. Inch Bug, are you in or are you out?
I like the label. Send me some. I'm out.
Chris Howard.
So let's see. She wanted 400,000. I'm out. I think she needs to drop the sippy cup.
Zoe.
Out.
I'm also going to be out, but you're doing good. You're making a lot of money.
I know.
Keep
Yeah.
at it.
Absolutely.
I think we had an update this week.
Yes,
We did.
Who wants to tell me about that?
Let's all just jump up and
So,
do it.
it was
James Lott Jr.
It was
Taking the update.
because I'm a sports fan. So Game Day Couture, Kurt and Shauna, their names. They got to deal with Mark Cuban from season 6.
Yeah.
All about doing the women's attire. I'm so happy because NFL started doing women's attire also. I'm a huge football fan. A lot of my sisters and female members of my family are huge football fans. So now there's shirts and pants and shorts and jackets that fit to women because we obviously have different shapes.
Beautiful
Yeah.
design too.
Beautiful designs. It looked wonderful in there. Of course, they showed the Mavericks part and all the Dallas stuff. And blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. But they did $3.25 million before, $6 million now last year. There's 700 stores. I liked them before. I liked them when they were on the show last season. I'm really happy to see this, and it's a big market. It's such a big market. Sports paraphernalia, memorabilia, everything, just all clothing. It's just a big market.
This thing is going to blow up.
Yes.
It's
Completely.
incredible design, and Mark looked like
Yes.
he was ramping them in the right way too.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
had so many ideas in terms of places to expand. So
Yeah, I liked his contingency that his wife had to like the design
Yes.
Yeah.
before he put
I
it
know,
on.
I like
was
that.
kind of
That's smart.
But am I the only one who didn't understand why this was so complicated that it took someone coming onto Shark Tank to do it? I mean,
I know, it's
out
weird.
of all the clothing
I-
designers,
I
how
think
hard
it
is
was
it to
the
make
connection
nice
to the team.
sports clothing though?
I think it was the connection to the team.
Yeah.
yeah.
In terms of their
Yeah,
their purpose for coming to the tank to
They-
keep.
No, I
They
get that,
knew-
but I'm saying like, why didn't Mark or why don't people who stock these sports stores? How hard? Like, how is it so hard to find?
Yeah, a lot of things
Well,
tried
because I
on
think
clothing, I
that the
guess.
strategy up until this point had been putting the logo on everything.
Yes.
And this is the first time I think you've seen the name is still there,
Right.
but you've kind of ditched the concept of that logo and you've moved into more, and you don't have
Something
to,
sexy.
Yeah.
Couture.
Something
It's
sexy,
couture.
yeah.
It's meant now it's fitting for women because up until this point, women just had to buy men's sizes. They just had to buy
Right.
whatever men. Because you're right, it's about the logo and it's representing who they are. But now it's actually going into the women's clothing and sizing and that kind of market.
So there's been a shift in the
yeah,
type
for
of
some
product
reason it just
that
has
they're-
never been done before. It's so weird. Women watch sports. They watch them with
It
their
is pretty
men.
surprising though. I
But,
guess.
so
but they
shocking.
also look good in those oversized football shirts. So
They can,
yeah,
they
so
can.
it's like
But now, see,
was the thing.
I know a lot of women now are so happy because now they can actually just they can look cute in them now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people who are excited about this product in particular.
Not about this
Really?
product, but in terms of now, because like I said, NFL does it now. They're very happy that now there's women's, and it's really cute.
Yeah.
They can do certain colors that that we would do for men, and yes, I actually personally do.
Yeah, I
do.
that was the what did they call it? A check-in or a review or
Update.
Update.
The update was for me the most investable product on the show tonight. I looked at that and immediately
Yeah.
I thought,
Me
that's
too.
an
Oh, me too.
investable
That would have
product.
been in.
I
Would've
agree
been in.
with you.
Would've
I
been
agree
in.
with you on that. Well, that's it. That's it, gang. Another one in the bag. So
done.
why don't we tell the folks where they can find it? James Lott Jr.
You can find me on all social media platforms at James Lott Jr. This Thursday, I'm talking on Book Circle Online. I have an interview with a guy who does gay weddings. It'll be very exciting.
Nice.
That's at 6 p.m. this Thursday on our sister network, Book Circle Online.
There you go.
Beautiful, love it. So Chris Howard, you can reach me at Chris Howard Live for Twitter and Instagram. Also reach me at Legendary Living Daily for tips, motivation, that type of thing. LegendaryLivingTV.com, and you can join me for The Prophet. Tomorrow we're doing the after show in the daytime. We do it at 4 o'clock. So be there.
Nice.
I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. You can also find me here Wednesday for The Path at AFTERBUZZ. You can also find me for Book Circle Online on Friday. I'll be interviewing the author of Reconstructing Amelia, which was fantastic, and about her new book, The Outliers. And you can also find me on YouTube, Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show.
Nice. You can find me at The Only Camshaft, Twitter and Instagram, at Radio Millennial in iTunes, and Guilty Movie Pleasures here at the Popcorn Talk Network every Wednesday. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.